Hello, beasties. Welcome to the lair. How's everybody doing? No, Texas. I was running a few minutes behind. I was trying to help out one of the auditor channels, and I was trying to help a viewer of ours, a lair member, dealing with a case involving a minor. Hey, Cool Frog.
Hey, Froggy. What's up, man?
So, and I'm not going to go tremendously late. My pneumonia's kind of kicking my ass to a point, but I'm working on some stuff. But we're gonna amuse ourselves tonight. That's what we're going to do. Because I'm ready to amuse myself. And because people are annoying me. So, we are going to have fun.
Even if it kills us.
You never know. And just some of the people's children's. Like Texas Mama, I don't know what your state's doing, but I'm going to need someone to come up in there and get their goddamn child. Like, I'm gonna need someone to go to Texas and get their child. Because y'all. No. Yes, Mayor, here we go. Death by Fun, you're in. Well, we will do that tonight. So, Cool Frog, you want a link? Okay. Hey, Danny. Doing anything fun or still making hay? So.
Oh, she was gonna try and bribe her husband.
Yeah, I know. I saw that earlier. That's why I asked if she was still making hay. And one of the other things we're going to do is I was screwing around on YouTube earlier, and I saw the Honorable Jay Cedric presiding. Jay Cedric Simpson. And that man done lost his mind today.
Ooh.
That man done lost it, and I almost peed myself.
Oh, did we catch it? Did we get the clip?
I have it.
Oh, good.
I was dying. I was like, some people's children, y'all do not have any sense of preservation instinct. None. I know I have a stupidly low amount, but oh my God. This was a level that even put me to shame. I was just like, no, 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 sir, sir,
You might want to shut up now.
sir, I'm going to need you to come back here. Sir, I think you might need a sanity eval or an involuntary psych hold. Either that or a restraining order. I don't know which one. But you need something. Oh no. No, no. What are you doing? What? Yeah, I was very. I was very confused. No, confused is even the right word. I just what? Like I okay. Um also um some of the fuckery. I just I yeah. I was just no. There's just there we go. I have this stuff keyed up. Yeah. So we're gonna do this one first. Sir, I don't like. Yeah. I have questions. I have all of the questions right now because this headline. I don't get it.
Hello.
What's up, my man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. So I'm confused.
Illinois
Maybe
worker
you can
finds
help
3
me.
severed heads in his desk. In his
At
desk.
his desk. Look,
Hmm.
look. I know,
At his desk.
I know. If we've watched Godfather a few times, you've the horse head in a bed. If you watch The Simpsons, it was the head from like a carousel, merry-go-round. But sir, I've worked many jobs where I did not like my coworkers, but I feel like this is a different level.
Yeah, that's a little messed up.
A little
First,
messed
I was
up.
confused. My boss walked by and I asked him why the heads were at my
Yeah,
desk.
yeah. Hold on. Yeah,
Like he's confused
I'm,
that the heads are even there.
yeah. I'm just.
Like,
I'm gonna
how
read
did they
this.
get here?
But
Why did
just
somebody
like
else put
what?
this? Dude,
I saw this. I was like, as an OSHA person, I'm like thinking of the OSHA fines and violations for, you know, other potentially infectious material and workplace harassment. But what?
Hey, Div. Hey,
Who?
Vicky. Hey, Suzanne.
Okay, so let's
I
go over
went and
this.
I told a bunch of people. I said I'm gonna come join these guys. Come say hi. So there's
Cool.
Moose.
Hey.
Oh, you can jump at any time.
Nice.
But let's read this, Frog, because maybe you can help
Hey,
me here.
beautiful. Oh,
Illinois worker
I'm confused
finds.
already. I don't know if I
Yeah,
can
I
clear
know.
any of this up.
Illinois worker finds 3 severed heads at his desk after a job complaint. A worker at a Chicago company that distributes human body parts for medical research said someone left 3 severed heads next to his death in a macabre act of retaliation after he complained about the condition of dead bodies. Dale Whitley, the transportation coordinator for the Anatomical Gift Association of Illinois, filed a police report after discovering the 3 disembodied heads sitting on blue plastic storage tubs by his desk. At first, I was confused. Just at first? Okay. My boss.
That guy recovers pretty well.
Okay. My boss walked by and I asked him why the heads were at my desk. um, sir,
They need to get back with their bodies so we can send them to cremation.
yeah,
No. These are people
hold
that
on.
have given their bodies that have surrendered their existence.
That's not the
science.
point. Just
And
hold on. It gets worse. Wheatley said in his
Worse?
5 years at the job, body parts have never before been placed by his desk and normally are kept in designated storage areas before he retrieved them to deliver them to medical schools for students to dissect and study. They're later collected, cremated, and the ashes returned to families. I asked why they were at my desk, and he said, I don't know. There's a lot of strange things going on. Sir? Sir?
there's that word again.
Sir? The look on his face in this picture.
Well, so the funny one is I don't know Dale, but then you look at the picture and it says Terrence Antonio James, Chicago Tribune. Is this
I know.
Terrence Antonio James, the writer of the Chicago Tribune, or is this a picture of Dale?
I assume that's a picture of Dale, but it's the Chicago Tribune. It could be anybody.
What? Look, I just. What?
Mayor Wrench. Maybe he's trying to get ahead in the business.
Ooh,
Or 3.
he seems to have succeeded.
I mean, I know, like, okay. Wheatley also said he found rolled up bunches of smoldering sage throughout the office, which he interpreted as harassment. Some cultures believe burning sage can help reduce negativity. What?
What the hell is burning? What?
I think they're trying to say it's for warding off evil spirits, Whitley said, and that I was the evil spirit. If
Oh,
you
jeez.
if
I
you
think
go
somebody
to
might be a little, just a tiny
if
bit paranoid there.
if you go to work and there's
Just a
3
touch.
severed heads in blue plastic tubs at your desk, and then
Madcore mofo. You check that out.
hey Madcore, you want to join?
I will stay over here in the corner and be quiet. I'm
You
just,
don't have to. No
I'm
way.
just the crocus squirrel.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, um, they say it's for warding off evil, and I'm the evil spirit. The shocking experience with the heads followed a complaint by Wheatley last month that donated bodies were not being properly embalmed or stored, and as a result were subject to rotting and mold. Rats had chewed through storage bags and bitten cadavers' feet, according to his attorney David Fish, and other degradation and decomposition made the bodies unusable or shortened the length of time they could be studied. The body goes to waste if it's not properly cared for. One medical school lab manager contacted the Anatomical Association to report some of the donors they received were in such poor condition they couldn't be used. In a message viewed by people, the lab manager noted a bug infestation, decomposing tissue on the hands and feet. William O'Connor, executive VP of the nonprofit company, could not be reached for comment, but Chicago Tribune reported that that denied donor bodies were mistreated and said handling bodies parts is in Wheatley's job description. Wheatley, who also lodged complaints with the Cook County Medical Examiner and Department of Health, wants to see better care taken of the body in the workspace. He, in general, felt the facility needed to be improved. They needed to treat the donors with more respect.
I'm more interested in what
So,
Wheatley's job in handling body parts really actually consisted of.
um,
I mean,
um,
when you think about it, you're like,
Froggy.
donor bodies were mistreated, and that was their job to handle the body parts.
No,
What were they?
his job is to go down and collect the pieces that are
no,
requested and then package them.
no, not totally.
Not
So,
totally.
I've actually worked with companies like this, and what happens is if you donate your body to science, a company or a company like this goes to the hospital, gets the cadaver, brings it back to the company where they generally have students from funeral home programs who are kind of studying embalming, who will do some mild embalming, like removal of the blood, and then they add the embalming fluid, put it in the cooler, and then a transport coordinator like him calls the different medical schools or the different surgeons and it's like, hey, who needed X, Y, and Z? And then takes the refrigerated and stored bodies, makes arrangements for them to go. So apparently, there were some fuck games going on, and he reported the company he worked for to OSHA on a whistleblower complaint, and to the health department on a whistleblower and medical ethics, saying, the bodies aren't being stored properly, so they're decomposing, and then I take them to the medical school, and the medical school won't take them because they're already decomposing, because you're not storing them in a way that's keeping them usable. And as retaliation, someone left 3 severed heads at his desk and burned some sage. I don't think that's how we get out of a whistleblower complaint. That I'm gonna tell you, as someone that writes OSHA fines, that's probably not the most efficient way for me to not fine you on a whistleblower complaint. B, there are rules against things called OPIM, which are other potentially infectious materials, like blood, bodily fluid, all that stuff. That's also not going to help your OSHA violations. Why you're burning sage? I don't know. But his office is not. His office is in a regular building. Like, the coolers for the bodies aren't, like, next to his desk. Everybody in that big-ass room with the cubicles is gonna stink. If you don't like your coworker, I get you. I've had plenty I don't like. But
I mean, I kind of get the burning of the sage, as some people believe in old pagan rituals where, to actually ward off like spirits and things or whatever, whereas they do certain things. That kind of sort of makes sense, if you're in the building and you have those beliefs, if you're in the building that has and deals with that many cadavers on a regular basis, you might just be a little sketch. Maybe not the best job for that person if they're actually, if you actually think about it, they might actually be better off doing almost anything else, like working at the McDonald's or whatever, and just not dealing with cadaver. I just the 3 heads. Why somebody would put 3 heads by somebody else's desk and just be like, they're weird. They have heads.
But here's my problem.
What was he doing with the heads?
But
he
Frog,
like getting head?
I don't know, and I know guys I understand. Oh, guys really like that, but I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's how any of that works. For one, and for two, you're in a cubicle farm. It's gonna stink for everybody, not just him. How much do you dislike your coworker that you're like, you know what? Let me put 3 decomposing heads in a plastic bucket and put it at the desk next to mine.
Probably not that guy.
There's not enough Febreze, air fresh. No. You're punishing yourself. Like, what are you doing?
That might not be a bad thing.
I was just, what? What? Muffin, you didn't. But
I mean, Creed, you have a point. They were used for pulling out teeth. Some people like gum as opposed to the teeth. They're like, no teeth, please.
Right, but you just left it at your name. Like, you want to sit at the desk, like 3 cubicles down, and eat your lunch? Well, you can smell that.
Well, I don't.
Like,
a lot of companies don't let you do that at your desk.
But here's the thing. Like, I know the complaints I got from people when someone would microwave fish in the cafeteria, or like microwave Indian food. Like, I would get OSHA complaints about it, that the smell. But y'all, they're taking this to another level. It's like, screw Indian curry fish that you microwaved and left bake in the sun for 6 hours. That's gotta smell better than 3 dead decomposing heads in a bucket.
Just the thought of it. I'm so glad I already finished eating my dinner for the night.
What? I don't. I can't even.
Even my dog is confused. Okay, it's like, what?
I'm sitting here reading this and I'm like, somebody got something wrong. Something has to be lost in Nope. No.
Nope, they were actually
No,
the
there
only.
was.
I was
No.
imagining they would be. I was imagining for a moment that they would be fresh heads that someone took off of some people and then just brought them to punk. That would have been.
No. No. And then what I like even more is you're like, hey, boss, funny thing happened today. I found 3 heads not attached to bodies in a plastic tub at my desk.
Well,
And the
it says
boss
it was
is
on a
like,
plastic tub.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, weird shit's been happening lately. Someone's over there burning sage. I don't think sage and incense is going to cover up that smell.
No, but it
No,
will.
it's just gonna combine with the other smells and just make it smell even more, is my opinion.
I really feel like there's a part of me, like, I can't tell you how many different directions my brain went like while reading things. Yeah, he's more upset about the sage burning. What? But here are like my questions. Like, okay, you're more concerned about the sage than the decomposing heads. Okay, I feel like
Sage and incest. Was this in Alabama? No, sadly, it was in Cook
incense.
County, which would have been
Creed,
Chicago.
Creed's
That's not what it
Croatian.
says. It
Creed's
says incest.
Croatian. Yeah, but Creed's Croatian. I think he meant incense.
Well, let's hope.
There you go, Muppet. Even Nightbot has questions.
But here's like the thing. I'm like, okay, so the boss is more concerned about the sage. You have 3 severed heads, and his response is, I don't know, you find a way to get them back to the bodies. Do you just walk around like a jigsaw puzzle? You walking into a cooler? Okay, where's the pile of, I think he might have been Hispanic. Maybe. Okay.
I don't know. He's looking a little too gray and pale to tell.
Look, what are you doing? Like, Frog, think about this. Now you have, like, a dismembered head.
I'm really having a
you
hard
just,
time
like-
thinking about it.
Where are... Okay, I think he might have been a light-skinned black male. Do we have any bodies like that missing? What are you doing? Is this a puzzle? What are we doing?
The medical school.
Maybe look in the next cubicle
way.
over. Look in the next cubicle over. You'll find other body parts in each one of the cubicles.
Are we getting ready for
I'd
Halloween Horror Nights early?
I'd hate to be the person that got the junk off of all of those.
Like, here's my question.
I think that would send a bigger. I think that would send a better message, or at least a more pointed one.
But like, here's my question: A, is this a puzzle? B, are you just getting ready for like Halloween Horror Nights early? I know Disney starts that shit up in like August, but
still
okay. And I might go find some fish that was left out in the sun to dump curry powder on and microwave because it probably smelled better.
Depends on the fish.
I don't care.
It would. If it was shark, then that would be terrible.
No, I don't think anything would smell worse than severed head.
I
Go
beg to
put these
differ,
back
but
where they
that's
go.
just a personal thing.
Go figure out what they went to.
I'd probably actually go to the point of being like, I can't do this. I gotta go, and just like leave, never go back.
Yeah.
I know you people think you're funny, but come on, really?
No, I'm serious. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd be like, no, I'm out of here.
I mean,
Yeah.
and then there's the part of
See,
me.
for me this wouldn't be a problem.
Well,
I'd be looking around for whichever bugger did that, but that's about the end of it.
but here's my issue with this, like even more so, right? Working in public safety as long as I have, I have seen and smelled just about every god awful thing, right? So it takes a lot for me. But it also, unfortunately, then like makes stupid things run through my head, and we all know I don't have a filter. And all I could think of is I know that one of the things at the firehouse, one of the guys used to walk out of the locker room and he'd be like, "It smells like citrus in there." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, someone bought lemon scented air freshener thinking it would help, but now it just smells like citrus." And as soon as I
Oh,
heard this about like the severed heads, like my mind went to that guy. And I'm like, how many different kinds of Febreze or candles and sage are people burning trying to cover up that smell? And that's not good. And then there's another part of me that's like,
terrible.
I know someone that would have picked up one of those heads and been like, "Hey, heads up," and thrown it. Like,
Yeah,
yelled heads up like
at
you
least
would with a
one.
volleyball.
Yeah, you know at least one person that would have done something like that.
Right. And okay. I just, sir, I, yeah,
See, some people laugh and the others need an explanation.
yeah, but Frog, I mean, you have to admit, you would just be like, you know what, I'm going home. They don't pay me
Yep.
enough for this.
Yep. I'd immediately just be like, I don't want this job anymore. I'm done.
I would have.
I don't want to. I don't want to come in the next day and see what would actually be left at my desk. Because
How
if you're
much?
leaving heads today, what are you leaving tomorrow?
Oh, it's Croc. Maybe his tail.
Oh no! You leave my tail alone.
I'm not the one that started it. But no, I was just like, I can't. I was dying. Like, my brain went from one end of the spectrum to the other. And I was just, and then like, there's the OSHA part of me that's like, how do you even write this complaint up? Man files whistleblower complaint because there's a federal nature of complaint. Bucket full of severed heads?
They gave me too much head.
Yeah, like, what are we doing?
Just the whole. I couldn't. I just can't imagine any of this actually being legit. It seems
It is.
wrong. It seems wrong. It's too bad that it is legit.
I
I feel bad for those three people that their heads are no longer with their bodies.
yeah,
Well,
and you know,
as long
you
as they
donate
want
your
your life
body.
first, they should be okay with it.
Well, no, they shouldn't, because you donate your body for medical science. And one of the things when you donate your body, it's like, you know, they treat the remains with respect as much as, you know, kind of thing. And at your, like, when you go to cadaver lab, they tell you, you know, these people gave their body to science, treat them with respect, all of that. And it's not even, like you were trying to do something good and help advance medicine and science, and it was used for a disrespectful reason, so it went to waste, kind of thing.
Well, it's
But-
an incredibly disrespectful sort of prank, no
Right.
matter how you look at it.
But I was just like, okay, great. I just want to be the HR. So if someone walked into my office, was like, "Hey, Loki, I'm gonna need your help here. I'm gonna need to know what you did to piss them off that badly. I don't think I can help you anymore."
So
But yeah,
to answer Muffin's question, what would be a header for the report? First time ever man complains of head. Might be a good one.
no, that's I actually have a funny answer to that one. It's almost as bad. But I
Oh,
was
dear.
just dying of laughter. And the thing is, I was the person when I got bored in public safety who used to come up with like creative ways to do things, right? And I once got a phone call from the medical director who we had a gentleman who jumped off of the top deck of a parking structure as self-deletion. It happens.
Exciting.
Part of the job. But
I mean,
you know,
that had to have been super excited and thrilling for about a minute and a half.
well, but here's the thing.
And then it
Working in
ended
public
abruptly.
safety, like you see it all the time.
Sure.
So, and it's way more common than than people realize. So I wrote the medical chart, and you have to put like a chief complaint in, and I was like, and I once wrote like dead, and they were like, that's not a chief complaint. Like, dead
That's what
isn't
he
the
was complaining of.
complaint. That's what their outcome is. And I was like, okay. It has to do with Medicare and billing. Because you need certain like ICD codes, right? To bill Medicare. And I was like, okay. So I wrote the chief complaint was terminal deceleration syndrome.
Oh, yeah. Let's see him turn that down.
I saw nothing wrong with it.
Your boss, on the other hand.
No, my boss was crying. He was laughing. The medical director was dying. He's like, "You're not wrong." I was like, "He's suffering from terminal deceleration syndrome. Jumping didn't get him. It was that stop at the bottom."
Yeah, I know,
Medical
right?
examiner dies writing report.
Yeah, we try not to kill the medical examiner, though. That's a thing.
No, this was like the medical director who like oversaw all of the paramedics and stuff, you know. So he was like, you have to
He
be
fell down
nicer.
and went
I'm
home.
like, that is nice. And people didn't like my sense of humor. And so I was like, I can think of interesting things to put. But, I was like, I've written terminal deceleration syndrome. I wrote negative patient to concrete interface.
Oh, Was that one of them?
Did you like make
Him
sure
fall
that you
down,
spaced
go,
out the
boo.
inner and the face? Give it a little bit more oomph.
You know, blunt force penetrating trauma.
You fall down on a spike?
No, gunshot wounds are technically
Oh, okay,
blunt
yeah.
force because for it to be sharp force, it has to have an edge. So technically, getting shot is blunt force penetrating trauma.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense to me.
So I wrote blunt force penetrating trauma. I wrote that a psych patient was CCFCP because this particular psych patient did not. So, like, that's one of the awkward things. Like, Frog, you'll realize, like, if you're in the back of an ambulance and you're calling the hospital, being locked in the back of an ambulance with, like, a legitimate psych patient who does not want to be going, you don't want to call the emergency room and be like, hey, the person I'm bringing in is fucking nuts. Because they're probably not going to appreciate you too much. So I was like, they're CCFCP. And I get to the hospital and the board says CCFCP. And they had a random room number. And I was like, why aren't they going to psych? And they're like, well, you just said they were, yeah, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. CCFCP. Would you prefer me call them BSC, batshit crazy? Like, I would come up with the most creative ways I could to word things. So I was like, I can find ways, but my man, you really done ticked off. And you know, why not? Although I can also tell you, and Frog will find this one funny. So I once went on a call for a severed penis.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. I don't think I want to know. Like, it's at a restaurant. Why is there a 911 call for this at a restaurant? What?
That's why you don't harass your coworkers?
I don't know, but I was just like, okay. And I walk in, and as I'm getting there, Frog, when I tell you, I was watching police officers puke in the, like, on the sidewalk in front of the restaurant. I'm like, oh, this is gonna end well. And they're like,
no, it won't.
they were like, you're gonna need more paramedics than just you.
Yeah.
I'm like, for one patient? Well, you have that, but there's another patient. I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking Lorena Bobbitt kind of thing. You know, like everybody of a certain age.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what? Getting ready to key up my radio to ask for another unit. And I was like, what's the chief complaint? I'm not even joking. The one cop stops puking, wipes his mouth off, looks at me, and goes, airway obstruction, not breathing, and has been stabbed. What? We missed something here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot
I'm
more to
gonna,
that story for sure.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need y'all to clarify this for me.
Somebody bit down.
Yeah, she was under the table and had a seizure and bit
Oh.
down during the seizure. And he
Oh
panicked
no.
and stabbed her in the head with a fork. He stabbed her hard enough in the head with a fork that the fork penetrated bone.
Ow.
And she had an airway obstruction that I had to use McGill forceps and go fishing for after I gave her a paralytic and a muscle relaxer to knock her out and stop the seizure so her jaw wasn't clenched. I had to go remove the airway obstruction, ship him to the hospital with his body part, and then take the chemically paralyzed, sedated seizure patient with a fork sticking out of the top of her head. That was the weirdest night of my life.
I can imagine how that would be entertaining.
I remember getting off shift and calling my dad to tell him, and my dad was like dying of laughter. My dad thought it was like the funniest thing ever, and I'm in tears because like I don't even know what to do. I was 20. I wasn't even 21. I was a new paramedic, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, Dad. My dad thought it was the funniest thing ever. And
Which
I'm
part?
like,
The part
all
that,
of it.
the bit that happened, or the bit about you don't know what the hell to do.
The
What
bit about the
happened?
bite.
Like all of it. My dad was just like, that's amazing. Roll call because it was a legitimate medical issue. We're like, 18 years out of it now. So I don't really have to worry about privacy issue in that regard.
National news? How did that not make world news?
So the thing is, with things like HIPAA and patient privacy and things, you have to be very careful. So if I can identify who the person is, it's like with the Johnny Depp trial, right? Amber Heard, it was defamation per se, not, it was defamation per se because y'all knew she was talking about Johnny Depp, but she hadn't explicitly said Johnny Depp, right?
Right.
So if you're close in time there, you have this problem that everybody will be like, oh, there were 4 ambulances at this home address that day. And it gets out, and they can try to come after you kind of in the same light as the defamation per se. If that makes any sense.
Yep.
That there's enough there breadcrumb wise. Creed, there's no litigation. It was a purely medical matter. He wasn't going to sue her. No one was being charged. So it's not a litigation issue, so you have to be very careful with patient privacy. You don't have litigation privilege. Yeah. But I was like, I remember seeing the guy a couple months later and, talking to him, and he was like, yeah, um, thanks for helping me out that day. And I was like, uh-huh. He goes, don't worry, I will never have any kind of strange fantasy like that again. Okay, or at least know that your girlfriend's epileptic first. I don't know what to tell you, my man. But
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah, frog. Yeah. I have had several calls that involve somebody dying or ending up with a serious traumatic head injury because the female was giving the male some attention while driving, and then he rear-ended a car and an airbag went off.
Yeah, that's a thing that happens.
Yeah, more than you think.
Yeah, this is
No,
all too often, I would assume.
Yeah,
if
there's
it's not happening in any given city at least once a week, something's wrong. Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a billable Medicare code for it. There's an ICD-10 insurance code specifically for that. It happens that frequently. But I've never seen somebody stab someone in the head with a fork hard enough to get it into the bone.
I mean, if you hit it in the right spot, maybe, but you'd still have to use an awful lot of force.
Well, dude's freaking out.
And he just got his penis bit off, so I mean,
wouldn't you? Wouldn't you be freaked out? You'd be amazed at how strong adrenaline can make someone.
I mean, I don't know if it would actually make me want to actually violently attack the person that bit it off.
No,
I might be more concerned that you just bit it off, but I'm concerned that it hopefully can be reattached. That I'd be like, "Where's the other part?" Like, grab it out of their mouth and like.
Well, I think that was his instinct that he thought if he did it, he wasn't necessarily trying to hurt her as much.
If I stab her hard enough, she'll spit out the head.
Or that she'll stop, or I just think it was just instinct. Oh my God, she bit down. This is in my hand. Let me do so. I don't know. I'm not a guy. But I literally had to go fishing with forceps to retrieve this from her airway.
And thus the and stabbed thing.
Yeah. But
is this whole stream going to be talking about head at tables?
No.
Let's hope not, Creed. Let's hope not.
No. But I was just dying. It was the funniest.
Danny actually had the legit question: was it able to be reattached?
It was. It was reattached. It was only partially functional. The last time I talked to him, and not long after that, I do know, because I moved out of the area not about a year after it. He had been readmitted to the hospital because of infection and blood clotting issues. And they were trying to salvage things. But it was originally reattached. But yeah, I was dying.
One wonders if he lost it after that.
I don't know, and I've never had the urge to contact him.
I'm not sure I would now.
Just like I have no urge to contact my man with the washcloth.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to talk to him either.
Mm-mm.
Man at the washcloth.
So
You might as well.
I know. We might as well.
And then we
You
and then
can't.
you could, and
You
then
can't
could
go
try to
there
find-
and like. I have no
Hold
clue what the hell
on.
you're talking about.
Okay, so one of the first places I worked as a paramedic was this very, very expensive seniors only community in outside of Baltimore, Maryland. And part of the allure of this community was they had like 2 apartment high-rise buildings that were like super bougie, super expensive condos. They also had an assisted living and a nursing home all on the same property, and a building that had a primary care physician's office, a dentist, like a small convenience-y grocery store. You know, it was all like self-contained. They even had their own ambulance. And you had your choice. You could like cook in your condo, or you could go downstairs, and they had, it wasn't like high school cafeteria food. It was like restaurant cruise level kind of, food service. So I got a phone call one day, from the person dispatching. They had their own ambulance, that I had a lady with a broken hip. They needed me to go get, and they couldn't handle like that on property anyways. So I get there, and in the middle of their living room is a mattress, and this elderly, like 80-something-year-old lady is laying on the mattress with a broken hip, and Grandpa's over here buck ass naked with a boner, just standing there. And I'm like, okay, what happened? And he starts like, no. I get the general what happened. I don't need details. Like, you don't need to start, like, just how did we end up out here? And he goes, we thought we would spice up our love life. So we decided to move the mattress into the living room. Okay. And she fell and broke her hip. And so I called you guys. Okay. And I'm like, and your clothes? He goes, I spent $7 on a Viagra tablet. What do you want me to do about it? I'm like, I don't know, but I can tell you, you're going to need to put it away so I can do my job. Frog, I'm not even joking when I tell you. I then goes, I'm sitting on the ground, putting an IV in, getting her ready to, give her like pain control, so we can package her up to leave to go to the hospital. My EMT calls my name, and I go to turn my head, and there's a dick in my face almost. Dude was standing right behind my shoulder and just hung a washcloth off it. Like it was a towel rod. And just standing right there. And if I hadn't caught it in my peripheral vision, I would have gotten smacked in the face with it. I was like, when I said put it away, I did not mean use it as a towel rack. My man.
It's covered, isn't it?
No. No. This is the same couple that like a month and a half later, when she was home and recovered, they got busted and arrested for public indecency for doing it in the middle of the day on their balcony.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, my man with a washcloth. Just walking around, hung a washcloth off it. It's like, I can't. I can't with you old people. No. They don't pay me enough for this. But yeah. So,
So
Jerry, it was literally a
being
washcloth.
being a paramedic that you are, I've heard stories from others. Have you ever
Sure.
had the ability, or I don't know how to actually word it.
Just word it. It's me. You know me.
No, right. If you have you ever been able to actually go and help some old man get off of his nut, like actually sitting on his nut because it's so big?
What?
You ever heard of that before? Oh, you haven't heard about that before. So I knew a first responder. So Minnesota, firefighters are first responders. So a first responder shows up at the house. And his wife's sitting there saying he needs help getting up. He's sitting on his nut. So the firefighters are all confused. They're all like, okay, like thinking that he's sitting on like a walnut, pecan or something. He's sitting on his food. They go to actually pick the guy up, and you can see. He says you can see this thing was about the size of a grapefruit. And they said, "Well,
Yeah.
you take." The firefighter looked at the old lady and says, instead of just standing there, will you grab it and pull it forward so we can put him back down? And she just kind of looked a little strange, and she goes and reaches under it and actually moves it so they can actually set the guy back down comfortably. But the problem was why they actually called them was just for that, to actually pick him up, because they were unable, the old lady was unable to pick him up and remove him so he could get off of his overgrown nut.
So actually, it's not that uncommon. And it usually has to do with testicular torsion.
Right.
And so there's usually, or there's usually testicular torsion or elephantiasis or like hydrocephaly, like, whatever. There's some medical
Right.
issue.
Some kind of medical issue on
Right.
what made it actually occur.
And
Right.
the person does not think about it enough to adjust themselves before they sit down.
Crunch.
And then they sit down and they're in like too much pain.
Right. They're sitting on themselves and they can't get up.
Right. And there's also an underlying medical reason and they can't stand. It's just a lift assist call. So
Have you ever been lucky enough to actually see one of those actually help
Oh, yeah.
somebody get up off their
yeah.
themselves?
I had those. I had one guy, I've told this story, who was obsessed with Viagra laced crack.
Oh, jeez.
He called 5 times in 5 days after smoking Viagra laced crack. Because Viagra laced crack is a really bad drug interaction and it will cause priapism.
Sure.
And once it's been 4 hours or more, it is incredibly painful. You're risking damage and all of this stuff. And I had gone to the call, and you all obviously know what I look like. And this dude looked at me. He's like, "No, y'all got to send me a dude. I'm not going with her. That's not help." And I was like, "It's fine. It's medical." And he was just like not happy. I was the only paramedic. And so I called and I got the ER doc and I'm like, "Hey, doc, I'm bringing this dude Viagra laced crack, priapism. He's in a lot of pain. Are you cool if I, give him some pain meds for this?" And the first words out of the doc's mouth were, "That dumb motherfucker." Put me on speakerphone.
Knew
I'm like-
exactly who it was.
I'm like, "Okay." Not put it on speakerphone. He goes, "You dumb motherfucker. This is the 5th day in a row."
Oh my lord.
The doc was not happy because
not.
No.
here's the thing. Knowing how we get rid of priapism, I did not think there was a man alive that would ever want to go through that treatment to get rid of priapism ever again. Because the reason priapism happens, and the reason they tell you if it lasts longer than 4 hours, go to the ER, is because the blood clots and it will start turning colors and dying and will
Oh my
you'll
lord.
kill it
yeah.
off. Because the
And they have
blood
to-
clots. So
They have to
it
cut.
involves like 30 to 40 injections. So I don't, I'm not a guy, but I don't think I'd want to subject myself to that, especially multiple days in a row. But okay, you do you. And
They're
the
gonna do
doc
it again.
finishes
Yeah, they-
screaming at him. And then the doc, like, in a really, like, this doc, when I tell you, Frog, he is like 5'3" and has the heaviest Italian accent. Nicest guy, head of like the ER, head trauma doc, little Italian guy, who screamed at him and he was so mad. He's like, "I told you I wasn't fixing this a 5th day in the ER. You're going to the operating room. I'm not dealing with this again." He's like, "Go ahead and give him something. Give him as much as you want. I don't care. I don't care if you have to sedate him, tube him. He's going right to the OR." This dumb motherfucker, like, he was real mad. And I was like, okay. And then
No, and you can imagine why he was as mad as he was. Wasn't
Oh, yeah.
necessarily that he was dealing with somebody that was actually, using Viagra over and over again. He was mad that this asshole was using an illegal narcotic on top of it, which kind of
intentionally.
really intentionally makes it difficult for you to actually just be like, "Yeah, I want to take care of you." Nah.
Well, the other problem
Dumbass.
is it's
Live with it.
incredibly time consuming.
Yeah.
It can take
And
hours.
you'd think that
worth
would be
of
very
injection.
costly.
It is.
It costs more than just going and just finding some actual crack on the street and just doing that instead.
No, my man had an entire bag of Viagra laced crack. He bought it that way, and it was stamped with "Get high and hard."
Oh my lord.
That was what the dealer stamped on the stamp bags.
Again, some people's children.
Right. But whatever.
Uh,
So the doc, after he finishes chewing him out and tells me this, he goes, "Loki," because if you've seen pictures of me in uniform, Loki's actually like embroidered on my job shirt, my baseball cap. Everybody called me that. He was like, "On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being granite, how hard is it so I can tell the OR?" Vince, my man, y'all do not pay me enough money to touch that. So I'm sitting there with the back of a pen poking it. I'm like, well, I poked it with a pen. Maybe a 5 or a 6. Why am I rating some dude? No.
Poor Loki.
with my pen.
Having the worst work day ever.
I was, I was just like, you want to know what? No, go away. Yeah, you should have been at the one day. I had one where I actually put the call up on Scream. I redacted it for the lady that was buck ass naked swinging a mailbox in the front yard at people.
That seems a little over dramatic.
Oh,
I
it was
mean,
a psych
correct
call.
me if I'm wrong, but that's just silly.
No, it was a psych call. She pulled the mailbox and the metal pole it was on out of the ground and was swinging it at people.
I know
Buck-ass
you've told me
naked.
this story once already.
Yeah, I pulled the call. I also had my guy Frog, who he looked like the guy from Green Mile, and like 3 and 4
yeah.
cops would tase him at the same time, and the taser no longer had an effect on him, and you would hear the clicking of the tasers, and he would just scream, "Level up," and then rip them out of his chest. Every time they tased me, she yelled, "Level up," like a video game character.
I mean, I guess if that's what you'd like, you want to level up, you leveled up.
No, they didn't affect him.
Right. I couldn't imagine. I've seen people that can actually do that. They actually can just sit there and take shock like that. I couldn't imagine even trying to take that much.
4 at the same time. The things you see in EMS, you're like, I'm gonna go now. Yeah. I'm gonna see myself out. Y'all don't pay me enough for this job. And then I started doing OSHA, and I realized that people are still that stupid. And I realized that, in all honesty, Darwin hates me.
Why?
Because I feel like the 15 years I worked in the field trying to protect people from killing themselves, all I did was pollute the gene pool and piss off Darwin. And now I have to deal with the idiots on the OSHA side because I actually grew up and got jobs because
I
didn't let Darwin and the gene pool chlorinate out. Now I have to deal with them in OSHA. So, I mean, hey. But yes. But now that we have the guy with the dead heads on the desk, because why not?
Hey, you forgot the drive-by scootering.
Oh yeah, we'll do drive-by scootering a different way, but hold on. Hold on, where's this one? There was some other interesting things. So guys, remember we talked about the rapper Mr. Designer?
Yes. On the plane, yes.
Yes. Were you there for that one, Frog?
Not positive on that.
A rapper who didn't get any for a week in China kept jerking off
Japan.
Japan.
He was in Japan.
Kept jerking off on a flight back to the U.S. and kept getting yelled at by the flight attendants. And his excuse to police and the FBI when they arrested him was, "I didn't get any for a week." I thought the flight attendants would be impressed, and it was a good way to compliment them. The flight attendants yelled at you 3 times. put that away, and no. And you whipped it back out within 5 minutes and tried again. What part of that made you think they wanted to see that? Right? My dude?
Oh no. Oh no.
Yep. Doctor takes plane to Maine to propose to girlfriend, gropes woman, and goes to jail. How do you explain that?
I don't.
Honey, I need you to come bail me out of jail. Why?
Not only did he do it, he allegedly did it. So it's just, this lady was saying that he sexually abused, not that he necessarily did.
A Georgia doctor is accused of groping a woman sitting next to him on a flight to Maine, where he allegedly was planning to propose to his girlfriend. This doctor is a nephrologist in Fayetteville, Georgia, charged with 1 count of abusive sexual contact aboard an aircraft in connection with the Atlanta encounter. Oh, look, it happened on Delta again. The other dude was on Delta,
Now,
too.
what is it with Delta? I
I
must know. I have questions.
that allegedly happened during his Delta flight from Atlanta to Portland. Shortly after the flight landed, the female passenger told the police that Cho continuously leaned into her seat throughout the flight, touched her crotch, knowing he didn't acknowledge it, and pretended to be asleep while doing it. The alleged victim claimed at some point he touched his feet with hers, was appearing to spasm, and then reached over to, she yelled, "Excuse me," and then he moved his hand. Once the flight landed, he stood up as soon as it was safe to do so and moved away. 2 days later, he was back at the airport, was questioned, said it was a doctor traveled to Maine to propose to his girlfriend. He denies it, brought back in for questioning, took a polygraph, and then he admitted he did it. I intended to only squeeze her upper thigh, and I missed, was essentially your argument. I intended to squeeze her thigh, and I missed, because my glasses were off and it was dark. So my hand slipped.
Right.
Her thigh and her breasts. How big were those breasts?
I don't
Big
know.
enough.
But how do you call the person that you just proposed to?
I've been arrested.
Hey, honey, I know I just proposed to you, but I need you to come bail me out of jail now. Why? Well, when I was on the way to propose to you, see what had happened was... I have a feeling that there's going to be one of 2 problems here, possibly 3. 1, your medical license is probably at risk. 2, your relationship is at risk.
At risk?
And 3, and this is my favorite, it was at Hartsfield Jackson in Atlanta. He has a very real chance of coming across everybody's favorite Fulton County judge, Alexandra Manning.
Yes. Freak trial.
I want to see Judge Manning get this case. Tell me that would not be epic. I want to hear that argument. A pre-trial, Judge Manning. Judge Manning, please.
Judge Manning, if you can hear us.
Please don't pull that off the docket.
I'll look and see if I can find it.
When did this happen?
Recently, I'll go see when it's scheduled on the docket. But I was like dying. I was absolutely dying. Hold on. Before we lose Frog or anybody, we need to. We need. We're gonna. I know Credence and Mikey won't be. Well, Credence and Mikey are chill, so we should be okay with it. Let me see what the timestamp is really quick. Do we have a time? Credence, Mikey? Do you
Jerry's
timestamp
funny.
this?
Honey, some lady just touched my hands with her breasts. And there has been a misunderstanding, and I got arrested for no reason.
What?
Frequent occurrence. Damn, Danny.
What?
Just reading your chat.
Oh, okay. Are they good?
Yeah, they're funny. My sister-in-law had to bail her new husband out of jail for flashing people. She found out at the jail it was a frequent occurrence.
Yeah, like what happens when you're like?
Would that mean our flasher was actually one of your brothers? Or was this an earlier or a new husband after brother whoever?
Okay. So, guys, everyone knows my love for Judge Simpson for his 0 fucks that he gives.
Oh, that's
he has the no contact. He has the no go-to that we have in this case, and so I don't understand what the reason.
Mr. Vince.
Well, Your Honor, is the witness here? Because that is all. I mean, all the allegations are based on her words. There's been no police contact, no video, no third-party witness, no DNA, no fingerprints, no police contact with my defendant here.
So he wants a hearing on this bond violation?
None of these phone numbers connect to his account. He absolutely denied the allegations in here. There is no physical evidence, and if there is not a witness here, Your Honor, then both the underlying case should be dismissed and this alleged.
I'm not even talking about the underlying case. So just deal with what I told you to deal with.
All right, well,
Does he want a hearing on the bond violation?
absolutely, Your Honor.
When are you going to have the other report?
I'm not sure, but I can check on that today. I'm also waiting for the actual screenshots of the text messages that are written in the Romulus police report. And if he's saying that that's not his phone number, I can also get a search warrant as to that effect.
In that police report, there are 6 phone numbers listed. The police report indicates that none of those numbers are Mr. Carter's. If there are screenshots, I have not received those screenshots. It's the first time I'm hearing that there are 2 other potential police reports out there. However, this police report says that 2 officers showed up. I don't know how a Wayne County Sheriff's Department police report would be any different than this, as far as I can see, there were no Wayne County sheriffs on the scene of this alleged incident. There's just simply no physical evidence. There's no third-party evidence. And frankly, if you read through the report.
Yes,
I did.
well.
Before I revoked your client's bond. I did.
Okay, well, I would hope you did. When you start to read through it, the allegations in there, either it's a lie or he's the luckiest guy on the planet, because I would think that the Romulus PD would be able to get over there in the length of time that all of this stuff is alleged to have happened and find a purple Taurus. Yeah, she says at 1 p.m. he began to call her, and it somehow got into an apartment, beat on the door of the apartment, left the apartment, started yelling through the window, and generated somehow, all while outside, 6 other phone calls from 6 different numbers, none of which line up to the defendant. If she's not here, Your Honor, then I think that that is a very, very strong indication that this is not factual. The other thing in this, Your Honor, this person alleges that he stole a gun from her in Pittsfield Township. Well, you know, if that's the case, then shouldn't this have been a little higher priority? I think the prosecution knows that this is not accurate.
Apparently, this is epic.
There's just simply, there's nothing before the court today to indicate that he is guilty of what they're saying he's guilty of. If she's not here, she should have been here. There's no Romulus police officers here, not that they saw anything anyway. There's no third party in the police report. It says witnesses, none. Wait a minute, he's broke into this apartment complex, banging on the door, goes outside, supposedly shouting the N-word. Don't you think somebody would have witnessed that, especially at 2 p.m.? Oh, you know, without
The
a
look on
witness,
his
without
face.
some shred of physical evidence.
Simpson's already
There's nothing. This is
looking
just
angry.
allegations of someone who did not bother, apparently, to show up to court, both for this and presumably for the underlying.
I feel like Judge Simpson. No.
First thing, this defendant is on bond
Oh, God.
awaiting this final settlement conference where he's charged with domestic violence. He's also on bond awaiting pretrial where he's charged with child abuse court. He's also on bond waiting a probable cause conference where he's charged with resisting and obstructing a police officer and fleeing third. Mr. Vincent claims that he knew nothing about screenshots. Well, I just said on the record I don't have them. I'm awaiting them, but they are in the Romulus police report. They say that they do have screenshots, so maybe he did read that report. Also,
Oh, Your Honor, I don't have screenshots.
You will not, ever. I let you go on and on. I told you what I'm trying to focus on here.
Oh,
Keep
no.
trying it, Mr. Vincent. You're going to run into trouble with me real fast. Ms. Kirby, you may continue.
thank you. I also explained in my motion that the Romulus police report is different than the 2 other contacts that this victim had with the sheriff's department. I've included those police numbers. Those are also in the motion. So I'm not sure what he means on, I have no idea why the sheriff's department and Romulus were here. No, it's completely different. And I don't have the accusations in those. I'm awaiting to get those, given that they're not in our county, and I followed the process to get those. Also, this is, if we're having a bond violation hearing, I would just remind the defense counsel that it's not beyond a reasonable doubt for a bond violation. So I would ask the court to take what it has in front of it, including the Romulus PD report, and either adjourn so I can get the other police reports, and so I can get the actual screenshots and possibly a search warrant for this. And I would ask for the defendant's bond to be revoked. And
I'm like elbowing my client. If I'm the
given
client, I'm like
seriousness
smacking
of
my
this
own damn
case
lawyer.
and the
Shut up.
seriousness of his other 2 cases,
Shut up.
I do believe
The judge
not
looks
only
mad.
a threat to the victim,
Shut
but
up.
to the safety of the community and also children. He seems to find it funny as his defense attorney speaks, which also tells me that he does not take this as serious at all, which also concerns me. As for the complaining witness not being present, I did not know that he was going to be here. I thought he was still out since he had not turned himself in, and his attorney was well aware that he had a warrant out, no bond. So she is not present. Last time I spoke to her, she was in fear for her life. She said she would continue to answer the phone, but she has been placed in a different place that I know of the location that she does not want me to share out loud. I have no problem sharing that with the court, but she is not present. And regardless if she was present or not, I can proceed based on forfeiture by wrongdoing with the interference that the defendant has committed himself through these other police reports. And I was going to ask for time to get those anyway, that I could present those at trial. So
Oh, no.
regardless if she is here or not, and just for the record,
Judge
the
Simpson
court rule
looks
does
big
not
mad.
actually say I have to have a witness present. It
Dad
actually
looks
said I
mad.
have to say if I can
I
proceed
would
or
want to be on the wrong side of that guy.
Thank you.
Of course, I try not to piss off judges.
Anything else, Mr. Benson?
And if hearsay
Agreed.
allegations, someone's not here. This all happened in the last 48 hours, 72 hours.
Lokificents is not here, but if I look at what's in here, first of all, you're mixing two things. Because certainly they can
Uh-oh.
proceed by hearsay. As
Danger,
regards
Will
to-
Robinson, danger.
So that maybe we can clear that part up, because so they don't need her here for that. As to the final settlement conference, the people have stated to the court that they can proceed without her, if necessary, but that they also do know where she is.
I don't know how they could possibly proceed when there is not a.
That's not your issue. They've made the representation to the court.
Okay, and I'm making a representation to the court that when you read the police report, which you have,
I read it.
then you know that there is only
Oh,
her
no.
allegation.
This may
At
be
least
one of the
what I
dumbest
have in
defense
front of me, what
attorneys
you have
ever.
in front of you. And he is here. He's availed himself to the court every
You
time.
need to read the
that
room,
I've had
dude.
anything to do with him.
Why
He's not
didn't he
here.
turn himself in between the time I revoked his bond and today?
Oh,
Just don't come out.
Because you, as an officer of the court, should have instructed your client to do that the court had revoked his bond. So I want an answer to that question.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to be here today. That is.
That's not an answer to my question. Mr. Adams,
According to what the defendant just
Uh-oh.
told his attorney is that he told him to just show up today and not turn himself in.
That's correct, John. I mean, and that if.
Oh, put me in handcuffs, man.
that's a wrong answer.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm
Way the wrong answer.
sorry.
oh no.
I'm actually.
I'll deal with this in a minute, because right now I'm furious, Mr. Benson, that you would represent that your client defendant's remanded. Take him. Court's gonna stand in recess.
Oh no.
Please subscribe to help the channel.
Oh
Yes,
no.
Cameron Carter. Recall.
It was gonna have to disclose.
Now, Vincent, on behalf of the defendant.
I want to
Yeah,
see
there was
the.
absolutely
Oh,
a
no.
mix up. And as much as my understanding was that he had spoken to the court and they did not tell him to come in. And I should have come in. Yeah, absolutely a mistake on my part.
Well, it's not a mistake, it's a sanctionable offense, and I think you ought to know that. That to willfully tell a client, or even to intimate to a client, that they should in some way disobey a court.
In no way, shape or form, Aaron, did I meant to have that effect happen. My understanding was that he had seen you in person this week and that you come to court from, I would never,
Uh-oh.
and I think you know that about me, I would never have anyone try to knowingly or
This dude is
disobey.
backing
order.
up
I would
as
never
fast as he
knowingly
can.
Disobey any of your bond conditions or
I
orders.
don't think he's getting out the way
He
of
is-
this
I mean,
train, though.
I don't know, Your Honor. This is a horrible mistake, and I'll fall on my sword for it. But it is
Oh, I think
a
you're
misunderstanding.
gonna fall on a lot
Not
more.
any. In no way, shape, or form was I trying to get him to avoid justice, and he certainly is trying to avoid justice on this, Your Honor. I understand that these charges and allegations are serious.
The judge, like, read the room, my dude.
I mean, all I can say, Your Honor, is that my understanding was that he had spoken to the court this week.
Read the
that-
room, my guy.
He was free to come here Friday.
Stop digging.
We clearly had.
Please stop tying yourself to the
At no
train
point did I
tracks.
ever advise Mr. Carter to do anything else other than follow the law. And it must have told them that a dozen times, something that
Sir,
every time I've talked to him.
Some
"Do not
people
violate your
don't
bond,
have a
violate your bond,
stop.
Show up Friday. That's when we have a court date. My understanding was that was the understanding. And it is
They
absolutely a
just have,
snafu on my
they have a
part.
go button,
And
and that's
I
it.
beg
They
the
just
court's
blah, blah, blah,
forgiveness.
start spewing shit.
He has an appointment today at 2 p.m. to see Washington Community College counselor. He's trying to get his CDL so he can take care of his kids. He is working on another job. He's
This
available
lawyer, I don't think he
to court
realizes
today,
the
Your
judge
Honor.
is going to
If
murder
this is
him.
bound over to jury selection, he'll be there then too.
Definitely.
He understands this is serious, Your Honor.
It's
He's just
cute that he
vehement in
thinks
his
that he's
innocence.
getting a
I
bond.
perhaps have been overzealous on my part. I meant no disrespect to you, court,
Oh
to the
God.
people.
What I'm gonna do in this case, because, I mean, something's gotta be decided as to what was told this defendant. That may have to be resolved some other way, but the court will take whatever action it deems necessary, and I won't do that until June 26th, if I deem it appropriate to do so, because as angry as I am right now, I'm not gonna make that decision on that. I will set a bond hearing in person in this case for June 26, 2023 at 9 a.m. All of the paperwork will be sent over, and we can deal with it at that point. In the interim, defendant's bond is revoked. I will adjourn the jury final settlement conference that we were going to have today, as well as the jury selection. Jury final settlement will be my next one, August 11th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Jury selection, August 14th, 2023 at 8:30.
If you're the client, I'm smacking my own lawyer.
Yeah, my echo.
I don't think you want to do that right now. I am just.
Your Honor, you know I did not.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Are we going to argue these other motions first, or where are we with these 404Bs?
I believe Mr. Fikowski still wants to proceed on them, and I'm prepared to argue them as well.
All right. Guys, give me a few minutes and then I'll come back and
Wow, Judge Simpson is just awesome. This has been brought to you by Time Served. Make sure to hit that like.
Dude. Frog, is it just me? You're like, dude, shut up.
Yeah. Sometimes, like I said, some people just don't have a stop. And it's just like sometimes you need to just stop saying anything.
Well,
Read
actually,
the
Take
room.
your L. Take your L that you already took, or that you're gonna get. You're not gonna get.
that's just it. That's not what happened there. This guy, from the sounds of things, had his grovel panic button obliterated. Just
Yeah. But I
Oh my
just
God.
love the. So what do you want to do? You don't want to go there with me. What are we gonna do? You don't want to go there. Like if that look on the judge's face did not say, "Shut the fuck up and walk away" before he rips your bar card in half and beats you. That is literally the like Frog. You Skwerl. You both are like kids. You say something, your kid's like, "I didn't do it." Then why is your face covered in blue frosting?
oh yeah,
I don't know.
wasn't blue frosting. It was something else entirely, but still.
Yeah, but you're like, there's green paint handprints on the cabinets. They're covered head to toe in green paint. I didn't do it.
Now, Alex never tried the green paint thing. That was cool.
I'm just saying that
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
this is like that level of you need to get
Like,
out your
dude,
own
shut the
way.
fuck up. I know very little about Judge Simpson, and even I know better than this, just to keep rambling like that. He's trying to grovel, and it's not working.
But I like how, like, at the very beginning, he was like, "I don't see how they could do it. They're lying." My man, abort, stop. if I'm the client, I am picking up that folder and smacking my lawyer. Y'all, he go. No,
He probably would have if he hadn't been handcuffed.
I'm kicking my own lawyer in the shins. Then, shut up, shut up, shut up. I
Shins?
want to stay on bail. You're ruining it for me. Damn, my guy. I need you to get out your own way. I don't know what you're doing. But whatever it is, it ain't working.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
I know. But
Dude's an idiot. Dude's an idiot. It took him far longer than it should have to figure that part out.
So what's on the topic for tonight, Frog?
I
put
put it as an open mic. As
Okay.
far as my personal day has gone, it's just been ish since the beginning of the day started. I've been disturbed, and I finally seriously picked up my first actual check, because I didn't want it to go through my PayPal. I wanted an actual check from Rumble.
Okay.
Do not make that mistake once you monetize on Rumble and hit that button and say you want a check. Don't do it. I'll tell you right now. Just open a PayPal account or use a PayPal account and let the money go there. Because you're gonna seriously, I want to endorse the check, and I figured, okay, I'll take a snapshot, whatever, and I'll send it to my bank. The problem is my bank's all the way back in Minnesota, and I'm here in South Dakota. So I can't just go walk in there and get them to actually take care of it. I go in to take a snapshot of it, to get a direct deposit type thing or whatever on it, and it fails and says that I need to endorse it. And I'm like, well, it is endorsed. What the heck? I call the bank, let them know what's going on, and they're like, you might want to just take it to a bank where you're at. Just take it somewhere. Most places should be able to cash it for you. So I'm like, all right, take it to a bank. And try cashing it, and they're like, oh, sorry, without an account you can't do anything for you. Instead of asking me, would you like to set up an account so we can actually take care of this, they pretty much just sent me away. So I'm like, okay. So I went to a second bank. They told me the same thing. That person ended up telling me, why don't you try Walmart and see if they'll cash it. So walk into Walmart. Lady starts processing, pushes it through, and hands me a little piece of paper and says, it was refused. You got to call the number on the piece of paper to see why it was refused. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I went to a third bank. I walk into this third bank, into a federal credit union, to see if they would actually help me. And the person at the counter says, and she's looking, and she says, you have an account with us? I'm like, no. And she's like, well, actually, it doesn't really matter. I'm like, why is that? And she's like, well, because the check is cut out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
So being that it's that the checks come from Rumble from Canada, basically what happens is the way she said it was that they take the check and they go ahead and file whatever they need to file for a transfer of funds
International.
because it's an international thing from Canada to the United States, which could take a little bit of time in itself. And then they would actually let me know when they got the money in where I could actually come and get it. So this is like, I can't even just have the cash right away and let them deal with it afterward. No, I have to wait for them to actually release it. Take the time from that until they decide they want to call me and say, okay, now you can come and get your cash. As opposed to just, dealing with PayPal. I'm like, I guess I'll deal with PayPal. I'm seriously sitting on this check from Rumble that I pretty much can't do a thing with. Hopefully my wife, because my wife does have an account here at a bank in South Dakota where we can actually go and hopefully we can actually get that process started to get the funds eventually transferred from Canada to the United States. I'm like, ah, fuck. Don't ever, if you multi-stream, if you actually go and you stream into Rumble,
Yeah,
don't Slack check. Just
Yeah.
don't Slack check. Go with the PayPal option. Take your money right away and
Well,
do it. Deal with PayPal's bullshit. You know, and the reason I didn't want to is because PayPal in their bullshit in themselves. If you make so much money, they have some weird tax bracket thing or whatever. So I'm just like,
they're just as they can be just as bad. So when I have the PayPal for the channel because you've heard my Beastie Fund thing, right? That I do. Have you caught that on any of them?
No, I haven't. You want to explain
Okay.
that?
So at this point, I run what I call the Beastie Fund. I'm not monetized yet on YouTube.
Right.
But regardless, people were like, hey, can you open a PayPal, a Venmo? We want to support you.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was talking to, members of my BC community. And, people were commenting like, inflation times are really tough. I knew, I had a couple members who had like nothing, like they were foregoing their medications because if they paid the copay for their meds, they couldn't afford to eat for the week. Or they were eating one like sandwich a day so their kids weren't hungry. Or, just scraping by, or not even, and the parents are going hungry for the kid. Like, it hurt my heart. And I've been very open that when my mom was 4, she came to the US with my grandmother, who is she passed away last year, but was a Holocaust survivor. So like they had nothing and they were totally, dependent on family and people. So what I did is I'd been like, I'd find a way to get back. And then my dad passed away suddenly. And, but without my knowledge when my dad passed away, my community was amazing and banded together and found out where my dad's funeral was and sent gorgeous flowers and a card to the funeral home. And I was like so touched by it that I was like, I make a decent living like with my quote unquote big kid car, job thing. Right. So I, instead of using like the little amount, like I have very generous members, but like when you compared yourself to like Nick or, some of the really big ones money wise, I'm not making a living off of it. So what I do is all the money that goes to the channel, probably 98% of it that comes to me through PayPal and Venmo just sits there. And any of my OG channel members, my longtime members, my regulars, if they're having a problem, they reach out to me and I have full transparency to Croc and Patty in that they can see like ledger balances, but they can't see names. And
I want to see names anyway.
Not they want to.
None of my concern.
Right. So my beasties can come to me and be like, I can't get my prescription. I can't make it to Friday. I don't have the gas to get to work. I can't feed my kids till whatever. And we gift the money back out. from the Beastie Fund to community members in need. And then on top of it, when anybody has something happen, one of our members, Ardo, and I can say this because he's okay with me making it public, he lost a sibling to a tragic mental health, and death, and we donate to a charity in the name of the channel, and then I post the charity receipts. And I black out the other stuff. So we call it the Beastie Fund. There's the one or two people that, specify like, hey, I'm sending you X, Y, and Z for your daughter, your little one's birthday, for her birthday present from us. You know what I mean? And if it's something like that someone very specifically earmarks for something, then I'll go with it. But other than that, when Secret makes Skwerl or any of the other things, since it's not enough money that it's going to make a difference in my day-to-day living, and I can feed my kids, I can, pay my mortgage, all of that. That's what I use the Beastie Fund for. So I have a Venmo and a PayPal. I setting the PayPal up. I had to call Croc. I typed the stuff in. The second I hit enter, Frog, literally the second I hit enter, it sends me an email saying it's fraud and denying me a PayPal account, that there was suspicious activity. I hadn't even confirmed my email address. I hadn't even gotten the email that says click to like confirm your email address. And I got an email denying the account because of fraudulent activity. So I had to fight it out with PayPal. It took like 3 weeks. Turns out somebody that had a name similar to mine had been barred from PayPal. And their overzealous system just flagged and locked it. But it took like 3 weeks. And then I sent money to somebody for the channel in Canada. And because it was going internationally, they wanted me to prove it was legitimate business and not me not selling them a product. I'm like, it's a gift. Like, I can't give you a receipt because they're not buying something from me. You know what I like? It's they're not buying anything.
Yeah.
But it's going to Canada. I get that PayPal. Yeah. So PayPal can be just
Getting money out of Canada is easier than getting it in. I have no idea why.
I don't know. It's not like it's even a ton of money. It drives me nuts. I mean, I know Viva had all those issues with them.
Mm-hmm.
With when he was doing that Trudeau stuff. Did you? I'm sure you heard about that one, Frog.
Yeah, no, yeah, as far as that goes, if you guys even have seen my channel or whatever, usually the
I see your
evening
channel on there all the
shows,
time.
right? Usually, I'm talking general as far as everybody else goes as well. Usually, those night shows, politics and news is usually where I end up going with it for the most, which over the first year, before finally getting to the 1,000 and being monetized on YouTube, I had dealt with several medical, several election,
several different forms of one of them was a spam, one of them was something to do with violence or something or other. I want to say over that first year, it was like 8 or 9 times that I had dealt with claims, like actual like strikes
Mm-hmm.
towards my channel from just doing anything. So when it scares me to think that the only way that I can get money out of Rumble or through Rumble is through PayPal. If they decide they don't like something that I'm saying, so like I said, medical, the very first episode that I ever produced, medical misinformation, and she yeeted my first episode for me, gave me a full week, and gave me the warning that never goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You actually can get it removed.
And then go through all of the process of back in October being completely and totally yeeted from YouTube.
Yeah.
Like picked up the fourth and final strike or whatever in a row and had them actually take it away from me. When they took it away from me, they didn't just take away the account and be like, oh, okay, there you go. You no longer can stream. No, it was, I could no longer interact. I could no longer chat. I could no longer create another account for a few months until I finally was able to get a hold of a guy that was willing to actually help me out and give me my channel back. It disturbs me to think that I have to actually go through something like PayPal to actually get paid through Rumble. What happens when us then they decide they don't like what I'm talking about over on Rumble and they're like, nah. And PayPal decides to actually knock it out. I don't do the regular full-time job or whatever. My wife does, and she's the one that pays the majority of the bills. But it gives me the ability to actually sit home during the day and actually be the at-home dad and try doing some at-home schooling. He's only 3, so as far as public schooling goes, whatever, he still has a few years before they would try forcing me to put him into any type of public schooling. So hopefully I can actually convince him otherwise that he's smart enough to not have to do such a thing, and I can actually do the homeschooling. Anything that I do make via YouTube or Rumble is extras that we don't normally have. So all of that goes towards pretty much goes directly towards the child support payment for another child that I have.
Right.
So it's like you've really kind of scary to think that all of a sudden they could just like yeet my whole potential income, and I could be left high and dry with absolutely nothing, no channel, no money, no anything, just because of what I say. It really disturbs me to actually think that that could actually be a thing in the future that I'd have to worry about. And then I can't ask for a check out of Rumble. I have to go through PayPal. PayPal has their own issues. They have their own wokeness that they actually have gone through or whatever, and decided to actually be like, well, you can't say certain things. If they don't like it, they can actually go ahead and shut your account. Which
and they'll keep whatever money was in it.
Yep.
They did that to Sargon. Apparently, they did that to Will Call at some point.
They'll do it. I know a few people that have gone through that. That's why they tell you not to store money in Venmo, PayPal, and stuff, because if they do it, they actually have it in there that they won't give you the money in the account.
Yeah, they consider they will take it as their own and declare it liquidated damages.
Right. And that's scary. That's scary. It's scary to think that they can actually go that far and actually just do whatever they want. Do whatever they want, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them if I have the ability to earn money through the stuff that I do. it can be really disheartening to actually believe that something that simply you could take over your life or your house and you're just done. You're like,
Well, nobody. I
how,
don't think
how do some of
anybody
these guys?
come over it,
How do some of
and I
these
don't
guys
think
that do
would
the
hold
Rumble
up in a
thing
court of law.
continue?
If
How
you
do they
had somebody
continue?
with the resources to actually take to get a case like that and just keep going, and still actually have standing to do it, I don't think that would actually hold up in a court of law.
It does.
That contract, huh?
It does.
Has somebody already tried it?
I had several people that looked into it because, when all the drama was going on more than a year ago, and the drama, and Nick was involved, and everybody, and talking to everybody, it's in their terms of service, and there's nothing you can do about it. The way they have the contract written, you agree to it in the terms of service. Yeah, Wilcox, they kept 11,000.
I hate the terms of service because all of a sudden, so today it says that you can't say in one particular word, where all of a sudden, and you're like, oh, okay, I just can't say shit. I can say all the other slang words I want. All of a sudden, the next day they go and they add another word, ass. Like, I didn't see that they added it, but I had already clicked that I agreed to the terms of service from the day before. Now
the only
I can't actually, because I don't have to sign it the next day.
Tell you.
Right. Once you sign it once, you signed it. You don't have to. They're not going to continuously be like, okay, you got to sign it again. Make sure that you read that. They're just going to give you the terms of service and be like, here you go. If you didn't read it because you signed it the day before, that's your fault. That's your fault you didn't read it. It's your fault that you didn't pay attention to the terms of service. So, you sign your terms of service, you can be, held liable for whatever they decide to change it to. They don't require you to re-sign it. There's nothing that says, oh, okay, we changed it. No, make sure you sign it again. They don't do that. They just update it. They update it when they want.
I think they're actually required to tell you when they do updates.
They do. They have to tell you, but they don't have to require you to re-sign it.
No.
So if you went to the point of you didn't read it after they updated it, that's your fault. It's your fault that you didn't read the new one. You didn't have to re-sign it. They told you that it was there, but say it was sent in an email, and you just so happened to skim past it, and you didn't see that email. You didn't see that email that they updated it, that they changed it. They changed it all the time. You see terms of service changes almost on a monthly basis.
That's why I go back and read them when they send me those emails.
But the problem is the way they're written. My cousin's a federal immigration attorney. And, he loves contracts and stupidity. And he was looking through all this stuff, and he was like, the problem is it's the proverbial, he calls it the favorite child syndrome, right? That I can, you have Nick, Ricada is a very polarizing person. Mm-hmm. And you have someone like Ricada, and they're like, okay, we're going to yeet you for this. And he goes, all these other people are doing this same thing. And they're like, yeah, well, we can choose who to enforce it and who not to. Just like the argument to the police. Everybody else was speeding. Right. That doesn't mean I have to pull everybody else over.
Right.
I can selectively pull someone over.
Which can be scary in itself to actually think that they can actually go that far of doing just that.
And that's what it
It's
is.
an everyday thing.
They don't have to enforce anything uniformly across the board, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, I went round and round with them a couple weeks ago that Croc and a couple of people did something on my channel. Someone got mad, complained to YouTube, and they tried to strike me and all of that over it. And I got in touch with someone at YouTube, and I got it fixed. And I was bitching at Croc about it because, in a way, it was kind of his fault. I wasn't even on the stream when it happened, whatever. And I got fixed, and he's like, well, they won't even answer me.
Nope.
And then I was talking to someone I know from one of the auditor channels, and they were like, I said the exact same thing you did on this day, and I got yeeted over it. I got a strike or whatever, and you didn't get in trouble. And it was one that I was on screen for, because I wasn't. Everyone's like, why have you just been an avatar lately? And it's because my Croc's actually seen me, but my illness right now is very apparent if you see like a picture of me or in person kind of thing, stage. So I hadn't been on camera much. And, when I was talking to the guy from YouTube, he was like, well, how did, I was like, well, this other person said the same thing about the firearms. And I'm not getting in trouble for it. And he was like, yeah, it's because of what you look like. Okay,
Seriously?
great. Literally, not ugly female talking about guns can say the same thing as you talking about guns. Like, we could read the exact same thing. They'll go after you first.
Yeah. There's a good chance, and you could only put it up to because I'm a white male that I'd probably be, directed at me more than almost anybody.
Right, and
right.
For them to literally flat out say, yeah, but you're the proverbial hot chick, so you can do it. I was like so annoyed by that. Like, why does that have anything to do with how you're enforcing terms of service?
Because the proverbial hot chick is more likely to have fans that will yell. That's really what it is. They
Yeah, I
don't
know.
like
I'm
that
just
line,
saying.
especially on Trigger.
It's just like, what the hell? Like, it drives me crazy. This is the most screwed up anti-woke thing. Well, you heard about the pronoun and fucker thing, didn't you, Frog?
The pronoun what?
So my micro is just finished kindergarten, right? And she's in a very, very expensive private school.
Okay.
And she got in trouble, and I got called because she was calling everybody fucker. Okay. What happened was, now mind you,
I'm just going to say the
5-year-old.
fuckers had it coming.
Yeah. 5-year-old, okay? a second grader uses they them pronouns at the school.
How that works, nobody knows.
She does not understand how someone can use they them in the singular, right? You're lucky she's not talking in the third person. I mean, little kids talk.
Yeah.
You want my kindergartner to use alternative pronouns for somebody?
Call it the way you see it.
Nothing like confusing the shit out of them.
Like, she was just like, what? Well, this person doesn't use she and her. They use they and them. And I'm like, again, you're lucky she's not talking in the third person. So her response to this school was, fine, then I call everybody fucker. Because it's the only thing I can call them that doesn't matter if they a boy, a girl, or an it.
And she's not wrong. It would work.
So
It would
for
upset some
like
people, but it would still
2
work.
weeks, she used fucker as everybody's pronoun. Come here, fucker. That was her gender neutral pronoun.
That's probably the best pronoun out there.
Everybody was fucker.
I mean, hell, why not? Make them all fucker. Because, what the heck?
And then I had to deal with the school.
Why try any harder than that?
But like, I literally then had to argue with the school. Well, that's inappropriate. Yelling at a 5-year-old for not using they them pronouns of a second grader is inappropriate.
Never mind the whole the second grader is already at like 7 or 8 years old, knowing what the hell that shit's even about.
But yes, so I had to go to.
I have questions.
I had an entire disciplinary conference because she called everybody fucker for weeks. And when asked, that was her response. Because she couldn't figure out what to call people without getting yelled at because they kept yelling at her for misgendering people and saying she was maliciously misgendering this kid.
I don't think she could be malicious. I don't think she has the comprehension, the ability to comprehend maliciousness in those terms.
Right.
Not at this age.
Just malice in itself. You really seriously at that age, there's no way that you'd be able to actually say,
I've seen some pretty malicious youngsters, trust me. But no, this is not.
But they can't comprehend what they're actually doing. They just do it because that's what they know what to do. They've learned it from their parent, usually.
Yeah, I mean, she's not going to...
She doesn't know that she's being that way. She just knows that, hey, mom and dad were that way.
She doesn't think that, misgendering somebody, like, she doesn't get that concept.
Makes sense.
So to say she's that concept, she's doing that
I'm
malicious.
46 years old. It still doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, then just
dude, I'm over. Dude, I'm 50, and it doesn't get better.
It's okay, both of you. My just turned 6-year-old has it figured out. Just call everybody fucker. It's gender neutral.
I like it. I like it. It is gender neutral.
Everybody wants merch that says that now. I was dying.
My pronoun is fucker. Except mine. Mine is master.
So where's the Teespring for you? You put that on
I'm going to make it.
My name is fucker. Yep, there you go.
Like, she literally just called everybody fucker for like weeks.
Once you get that up, you let me know that you get that up, and I
will. But I was like dying Because she was like, only word I know that I can say it to a boy, a girl, or an it.
Especially the it one, yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't
a
like
little bit.
they didn't have an issue letting it go for weeks, like that they were reacting. They just, I think, thought she would stop.
Nah.
But in her mind, she that was the only thing she could think of. You know, come here, you know, that wasn't gendered. Because kindergarten.
Right.
So yeah. My brilliant kindergarten.
Because any age, if under the age of 18, you should not be talking to them about any of that anyway. In my opinion, after you're over the age of 18, then it's up to you as an adult to decide if that's something that you are totally interested in. Anything to go along with that should not be submitted to children. No gender, whatever, or puberty blockers. None of that stuff. None of that stuff should even be in question for any child to even think about. There, seriously, my 3-year-old running around the house, he's having more fun doing whatever he's doing. I'm not going to sit there and look at him and be like, all right, now, this kid over here, that's a they, them. And you better get that right. Because you're damn right, he can barely even get his own name right.
But I said, you're lucky she's not talking in the third person.
And he will talk in the third person. That's the fun one.
Right,
because
and that's
he's
my
so
point.
young and he does
like,
talk in the third person. It's so damn cute. It's like, oh, there you go.
But that's
Telling
what I'm saying.
somebody
Like,
that they have to actually say they them is not cute.
But I'm like,
disgusting.
it's a kindergartner. You're lucky she's not using third person. She's just learning what a pronoun even is. So then to yell at her.
Disgusting.
Okay.
Disgusting.
But I died because and then as a parent, how do you keep a straight face? You know, I'm looking at her. She's, big brown eyes, waist length hair, wearing a flamingo dress. And all you hear is her yelling, "Hey, fucker, come over here."
All right. So,
Yeah, you
all
go
that
do your
being said,
show.
I need
Yeah,
to actually
you go do your
use
stuff.
the bathroom. Are you both
Yeah.
going to come join me at some point in time?
Yeah,
or
I'm gonna.
one of
I
you?
will hop
Both of
over.
you?
Send me the link.
I will go. I will poke my nose in at some point.
Okay.
And
hit
I'm gonna
the
send
friend
everybody
request
over.
that I sent you, Cock Skwerl. You go hit that friend request so that way you can at least
Over on
send you
Discord?
something when you decide to actually do that. You can do what you want, when you want, however you want.
Yeah, and
Where is
I'm gonna send everybody over
Where
to
is
you.
the friend
So
request?
Okay.
go handle your
I'm
stuff.
gonna do a few things and
Yep.
I'll see y'all in a few
That
moments.
friend request on Discord by
Thanks for
chance?
having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Frog.
Yeah.
See you later, cool Frog.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right, later.
Later. Yeah, well, but my issue was she just she doesn't understand. She, is I don't know what he's doing. Well, so and so goes by they. They don't use he, him pronouns. And she was like, what? And they said the same thing about a girl. And so then she became set in her ways.
There it is.
So, hey, why not?
There you are. Okay, cool.
How are you doing, Croc?
I'm okay.
Oh,
I know I wasn't so great when the last stream ended, but I'm okay. I'm mostly okay now.
okay. Well, I'm gonna head to bed, guys. Everybody go over to Rumble or catch Cool Frog on YouTube. We love the Cool Frog. He's a great friend. Great news and commentary. Crot has stream tomorrow, 11 o'clock Pacific time.
Yep, we're doing Amnesia the Bunker. The
Yeah.
brand new Amnesia game from earlier this week.
Yeah. And I will.
You could creep out. That's that's where we start.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll call. I mean, I'm lucky I know my own name some days. Yeah, we'll call. Just email me or IG message me about the other thing. But I'm going to try and get something solved for Muffin Rando before I head over there. So I will catch you guys tomorrow. Love you all. Thanks for hanging out. And see you on the other side, guys. Bye, everybody.